I was in 10th grade when I first heard about dopamine detox. Up until this point, I was a mediocre student. I have never achieved good grades in my entire life up until I was 14 years old. These 4 months, this 4 month period of my life, this season of my life, which I entered for the first time in 10th grade, was the happiest I have ever been. I was working and studying for the first time in my life for 13 hours a day. On average, 10 to 11, 12 hours a day, every single day, for like 4 to 5 months straight. I had a big mission, a big purpose in my life, which was to finally become a good student, finally achieve good grades, and start to change my life for the first time because for the last 10 years of my life, I didn't do it. For the last 10 years, I was made fun of. For the last 10 years, everybody called me a below average loser, somebody who was a failure. And I decided to change my life forever because that compounded into me becoming a straight A student and giving me the level of confidence where now if I can pursue any academic venture, if I can pursue a business venture, I am ultimately confident in my abilities to succeed in that thing, because that one small action that I took when I was 14 years old changed the trajectory of my life for the good. And now I have unlimited optimism. I have unlimited confidence. And not a single part of my body feels like it is against me. Feels like it is generating negative thoughts. And when it is generating negative thoughts, it is destroyed by like 1,000 positive thoughts, because that's what I have done over the years. It started from a dopamine detox for 4 months in 10th grade, and I had a big mission. For these 4 months, I did the things that I'm going to talk about in this video. These 4 months made me live my life at a lower level of stimulation. I was happy when I was eating normal food. I was happy and fulfilled with reading and working hard and going to the gym or working out in my house because I didn't go to the gym. I went to the gym for like a couple of days, and then I was like, I have no time for this. I want to devote 100% of me to this purpose of getting good grades. So I just worked out at home to save time. You see, I'm making this video because life right now sucks for me. And I'm going to be honest, I need dopamine detox in my life right now to change my life again. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about what is dopamine detox, why do you need it, what happens when you do it, what happened when I did it in 10th grade. And at the end, I'm going to discuss my formula or how I am going to follow this dopamine detox protocol that I have made for myself so you can follow as well. And the end result would be you feeling pleasurable by eating orange or apple. Orange or apple or normal food or working or reading will give you immense pleasure like you would get by playing video games. You would be able to work for 14 hours a day because it will be addicting to you, because it will be pleasurable to you. And that's the end result I want from you and from me, from my life, because the modern world is set up in a way that is overflowing our dopamine receptors. Dopamine is just, you're just constantly chasing these highs and lows. You're in these ups and downs all of the times. One minute you're like extremely stimulated, you're overstimulated, you feel like shit, you are lazy, lethargic because you have just exhausted all of your dopamine in like one morning. You woke up, you looked at your phone and it's gone, and now you don't want to do anything from like throughout the day. You're not chasing goals, you're not chasing pain, you're not doing anything you're supposed to do. You're not doing anything in this life that is meaningful. You're just existing for these pleasurable activities. And that is no way to live life and get the most out of this life or time we have on earth. Nothing feels exciting anymore to us. These small things, these day to day things, we should be grateful for, like our family, like our parents still being here, like water or these basic things you already have. You're not grateful for them. You're lazy, you're lethargic. You don't have that zest, that energy from life you should have, especially as a young girl or guy. You should be having this zestful energy from life, but you don't have it, and neither do I now. So we desperately, especially this generation, especially us young people, we need to go on a dopamine detox. We need it because the whole world is constructed in a way to destroy and keep you overstimulated at all times. The positives of being on a dopamine detox is talked about heavily, but I'm going to talk about a few points here. Firstly, you're going to feel pleasure from boring things, these boring things that will make you successful: reading, working, going out on a walk, talking to people. These basic things that feels boring and mundane will feel exciting to you again. You will no longer be sad. You will no longer be depressed. You would have a purposeful, meaningful life that you love to live. You'll start to enjoy life again once you're living at this level. The extreme stimulations that make you feel pleasurable right now, the only things that gives you gratification, that gives you pleasure, is this ultra high spikes in dopamine. Well, now after a dopamine detox, you will feel a lot of pleasure from basic day to day normal activities like drinking tea, drinking coffee, working on a task, reading a book. These things will feel pleasurable to you again. Just like playing video games. You will be working for 14 hours a day, unable to stop because you feel so much amount of pleasure from your work. Let's talk about the law of dopamine, which I discovered from TJ Power, who is a neuroscientist. And in this podcast, he talked about this thing called the law of dopamine, where dopamine is released from the pursuit of chasing something that is pleasurable. And dopamine is created when we do something that is painful, when we work on a hard task, when you go to the gym, push yourself physically and mentally, when you make your bed first thing in the day or first thing in the morning after waking up, and you clean your room, you go take a cold shower, dopamine is created. But in contrast to you waking up and looking at your phone, where you exhaust your dopamine, and now the whole day feels boring, mundane, lazy, and you feel no energy to do anything meaningful that day. You can't do anything productive because you have just used all of your dopamine in the morning in like 1 hour. So you need to chase pain, you need to chase activities that feels hard in the moment, that will make dopamine and release dopamine at a healthier state. So when you enter a flow state, when you work, dopamine is getting released, and the level of dopamine that gets released is very, very small as compared to these highly ultra stimulated state you are always in. There are two categories of stimuluses or stimuli. One is standard stimuli and the other is ultra high stimuli. That's what I will like to call it. I don't know if it's a scientific term, but that's what I call it. High stimuli and standard stimuli. You see, in standard stimuli, you have normal things that give you normal, that releases like low levels of dopamine, which you were meant to be exposed to. And the highly unnatural stimuli gives you unnatural spikes in dopamine and gives you huge crashes of dopamine afterwards. And it reduces your baseline of dopamine, your baseline happiness, every time you indulge in them. So, ultra high stimuli has things like social media, junk food, porn, and all of these bad things. Whereas standard stimuli has basic things like chicken, broccoli, eggs, like in your diet, reading a book, reading a newspaper, boring things like this, talking to somebody, working on a task. These are the things that comes under standard stimuli, which you were meant to do, which you were meant to feel pleasure from, which is healthy for you. But now you don't even feel anything from these things because the level of dopamine these activities release is absolutely nothing compared to the level of dopamine that is released when you're indulging in these high stimulated activities, high states of stimulation. So, this is my dopamine protocol that I follow and that I will follow for the next 1 year of my life. It combines two things. It starts to slowly eliminate these high stimuluses or stimuli, and it starts to incorporate standard stimuli. Two things that I will be doing on a day to day basis. I will remove, or slowly, if you're like at a very bad state, slowly start to remove these ultra highly stimulated activities. Slowly remove social media, slowly remove junk food, remove these things. And on a day to day basis, start to live like a healthy human being. Go on a walk, read, work, go to the gym, exercise, go look at the sunlight, write, and journal for a couple of hours. These things will ground you and get you back down at this lower stimulation state where now basic things will make you feel immense pleasure. So that's the first thing I did. I have no social media on my phone, absolutely none. So I have rules that I've set up for my life. I'm going to go through those rules right now. Rule number one is no social media, nothing at all. I have no social media. Every entrepreneur, every successful person I've studied, they don't have this life where they are indulging in Instagram on social media. They don't have social media. They just have normal things, normal boring fucking apps on their phone that gives them no dopamine at all. like banking apps, or probably banking apps give them a lot of dopamine because they make a fuck ton of money. But banking apps, WhatsApp for texting people, alarm, calendar, these are the things they have, and these are the things I have on my phone. Completely remove social media. Second, phone fasting for the first 4 hours of your day and the end 2 hours of your day before you go to bed. So when I wake up, I don't look at my phone for the first 4 hours of after waking up, and I don't look at my phone at least 1 hour before I go to the bed, because I know some random message will put me in a different emotion state that I don't want to be before I go to bed. I want to be in this relaxed, peaceful state, and I know some random message or some random thing will make me upset or feel extremely happy, or something will happen that will not allow me to sleep peacefully. So I just don't look at my phone for the first or for the last 1 to 2 hours of my bedtime or before my bedtime. The next thing is no junk food or sugar. I removed sugar and I removed junk food. And every once in a while, like every month or every couple of weeks, I will have some like chicken from KFC or something. But I don't have these things on a day-to-day basis. I have like immensely controlled, strict diet that I follow that will help me to build muscle and also have healthy stimulation state which I am operating at. So removing the highly ultra stimulation activities and incorporating the standard stimuli. The next new thing that I would introduce in my life is called dopamine fasting. And I heard this from Charlie Morgan. And he did this for a couple of years to this point where now the results he have right now is now he can eat apple and get the same level of pleasure as if he's having meth or like he's doing drugs. That's the level of like that's the level he's at when it comes to optimizing his dopamine levels and like creating this huge level of difference between his operating dopamine state and this highly ultra stimulation where now he feels headaches when he goes in these environments where hyperstimulation and high amounts of dopamine is getting released. And that's my end goal. That's my goal to achieve, to be disgusted by these overstimulating activities and feel pleasure from basic day-to-day activities. So dopamine fasting is basically you remove everything for one day every week, and I would start to do it from next week, Sunday. So every Sunday, what I would do is I would try to remove everything from my life. So these are the things I will be removing from my life on Sundays. No food or no junk food because I need food. No social media, no computer, no phone, no gadget, no technology, firstly. No exercising. So that's a big one. And I don't know if I will be able to successfully complete this part of my life on Sundays because on Saturdays and Sundays, the gym is like empty and I love exercising on Saturdays and Sundays. So let's see if I will be able to do this. But no exercise, nothing that gives me dopamine. I'm basically fasting from dopamine. The only thing I'm allowed to do is walking, reading, and eating normal food, like basic food. So, what this does is on Sundays, the idea is that I will have no dopamine that is getting released from anything. So, I am fasting from dopamine. And when I return back to my normal day to day life on Monday, it feels like I'm doing cocaine. It feels like I'm doing drugs because I have fasted from dopamine for 24 hours. And when I return back to working on my laptop again, I'll feel immense pleasure. And if I create this cycle enough times for like 6 months, 1 year, I will start to operate at this lower stimulation level where now everything in my life feels pleasurable to me. Drinking tea will be super pleasurable to me. Like reading a book for 6 hours a day will be immensely pleasurable to me. Right now, reading a book is like a chore to me. It's like hard work to me. If I do it, if I like, I can read for 1 hour straight, no problem. 1.5 hour, no problem. 2 hours, that's a problem. And I want to be able to read for 4 5 hours nonstop and have immense level of dopamine associated with this activity, and want to feel pleasurable from reading, from doing these basic activities, because these are the things that will develop me into being the version of myself I want to be like. So the idea is on Monday, when I restart my week, going to the gym, exercising will feel immensely pleasurable. Working on my laptop, recording a video will feel amazing to me. Eating normal food, boring food like chicken, broccoli, these things will give me a lot of pleasure. And that's the whole idea. And if I do it enough times, I'll start to operate at this lower level, which is healthier for everybody. The end tips I would like to give you when you get on this dopamine detox is to Do something that I did when I was 14 years old, when I was in 10th grade. And that one specific thing is associating a huge mission, a huge purpose in your life and having an end result during this season of your life, which you will be dopamine detoxing for. So let's say for the next 3 months, you'll be going on a dopamine detox. Don't just go on a dopamine detox, have a purpose, have a mission, do some work, do something that makes this process meaningful. Because in 10th grade, my end result or that end goal was to no longer be a loser, was to achieve decent grades for the first time in my life and to be respected by my peers and to be respected by my parents. That's the purpose I had behind these 4 months, and that is why I was so driven. And I never like I got distracted, but I would immediately get back to work. So I would like to sort of summarize the video and make it a concise action plan for you. Step one, have rules in your life. You can have my rules, the rules I have set for my life, like no phone, no social media, no phone for the first 4 hours of the day, no junk food, these things. You can have rules in your life. So step one, rules and regulations and principles you follow in your life. Step two is to remove these highly ultra overstimulated activities from your life and start to incorporate these standard stimuli like reading, working. And once you do this, your dopamine levels will start to go down and you will start to feel more pleasure from basic things. And once you get that, you can get to the extreme level, which is level 4. And in this level 4, you fast from dopamine completely for 24 hours. Even the dopamine that is healthy for you, like working or exercising, you completely fast from dopamine one day. And that is what I'm going to do. I have not tried this, but I have heard countless times from entrepreneurs who do this, like Charlie Morgan, and they have achieved this level of progress where now normal basic things feel like crack and cocaine to them. And I want that result. And that is why I'm making this video, to keep myself accountable and as well as give you some value. So every Sunday I would be going on a dopamine fast and I will try to not exercise. I promise. I'll try my best. And every Sunday I would just fast from dopamine and I'll make it a bit more realistic. I'll do it at least twice a month, at least. And I would do it for like 6 months, 12 months straight. And once I feel some kind of results, some kind of clear indication that this is changing my life, I'll make another video on this topic and I'll talk about like this dopamine detox protocol in a more clear and concise, actionable way. And that's where I will be giving you more amount of values, and I hope I can do that. If you enjoyed this video and you got value out of it, I would urge you to like the video, share the video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching this video.